This is another essay from my Reductio ad Absurdum projects list. It's called Some Casual Thoughts on How to Improve Our Federal Legislature. You'd make a good wife for a senator, Miss Pendrake. That's Calder Willingham movie version of Little Big Man. I'll have to explain at some point what that reference is, except, to the few people who have seen the movie version of Little Big Man by Arthur Penn, directed by Arthur Penn. Chappaquiddick Island, Massachusetts. Chappaquiddick Island, Massachusetts. 18 July 1969. U.S. Senator Ted Kennedy from Massachusetts, President John F. Kennedy's younger brother, is driving drunk, plunges his car into a tide channel of the Atlantic Ocean. A woman was in the car with him, 20-year-old Mary Jo Kopechne, who he was probably screwing around with, which is the part I really don't have a problem with. After the car sank, he saved his own ass, but left Mary Jo in the car to die. As far as we know, he made no attempt whatsoever to save her. He left the scene, somehow got home, and then waited more than 10 hours to contact the proper authorities. A witness in a store nearby the bridge over the tide pool saw him use the payphone to make a call, which was probably to someone in his family to come pick him up. He left the scene, somehow got home, and then waited more than 10 hours to contact the proper authorities. He is guilty of manslaughter, at the very least. After the Chappaquiddick incident, the voters of the state of Massachusetts continued to vote him back into office in 1970, 1976, 1982, 1988, 1994, 2000, and 2006. 7 more senatorial terms. There's definitely something very wrong here. Since Chappaquiddick, the Imperial Congress has gotten progressively worse. The Imperial Congress, where the fuck is that book? I think it's Richard Felton wrote it. The Imperial Congress has gotten progressively worse. They do even less work than they did before. Just look at the Republicans taking August off, going on vacation, even though health care legislation of crucial importance to the nation was left in failure. I wrote this back in 2000, in the early summer, when they were trying to get rid of Obamacare and create new health care. Instead, they make fake speeches that constituents don't need or want. Most are stealing from the country and getting rich, not just by selling influence to lobbyists, but also by selling classified secrets to foreign powers, many of whom are our enemies, or selling uranium to foreign powers like Russia, like Hillary Clinton did under presidency of Barack Obama when she was Secretary of State. Bizarre. How the hell that creature ever got in government is beyond me. Congresspersons are adding much more wealth to their portfolio during time in office than ever before. They are no longer national leaders, if they ever were. They are national followers. Their only concerns are getting rich and getting reelected to get even richer. In honor of these national followers, I have come up with a few ideas for helping them back to the path of light. Casual thought number 1, we should change the name of the U.S. Senate. The ancient Roman senators were truly noble, despite what you see in Hollywood movies like Spartacus. They were truly noble. They fought on the front lines with the legions in Rome's wars and could not be admitted to the Roman Senate until they had put their lives in danger. Many would open their togas to display their war wounds so that they could demonstrate their loyalty to the Roman kingdom/republic/empire. The members of the United States Senate, not to mention the other house, however, are some of the most ignoble human beings in human history. They avoid getting shot at by having their wealthy daddies or political allies arrange for them to obtain safe forms of military service like the National Guard or the Coast Guard. keeping them safe away from any chance of being hurt. A website can be set up where every American can send their suggestions and have input as to the new name for this House of Congress, including members of the Senate themselves, who, after all, are Americans too, despite the fact that they're bad Americans. It can even be done as a contest. The new name will be chosen via debate on the suggestions. Casual thought number 2, term limits. We need these bad. To really get started on fixing Congress and therefore the country, we need term limits for Congress in every level of government. This is a prerequisite for fixing Congress, which itself is a prerequisite for fixing America. And America is definitely broken. Not just the government, but the people at large, the populace, the citizenry. Senators should be allowed no more than 2 terms, 12 years in Congress. Representatives should be allowed no more than 3 terms, 6 years. But this is where the national debate should begin. I don't think senators, I think that the national debate should be on House of Representatives. I think in the House of the Senate, 2 terms is definitely enough. Casual thought number 3. Picture IDs for all voters nationwide without exception. We need to enact strict voter ID laws, picture IDs, to make certain that every scoundrel who is voted into office was voted in legitimately. Only confirmed U.S. citizens should be allowed to register to vote at any level, federal, state, or municipal local. No deceased people should be voting in our elections anymore. The vast majority of American citizens have a picture ID. For those rare individuals who refused Social Security registration for their children at birth because they don't want to partake for countercultural reasons in our society or whatever, they should be issued special picture IDs if they wish to partake of voting. Casual thought number 4. Reasonable salaries for all members of Congress. Congressional salaries should be reduced to 15% above the national average. They should not get raises, and they should not be able to vote on their own salaries or raises. They will get the same cost of living raise the rest of America gets to balance out inflation, but no more. Most members of Congress are already wealthy before they decide to run for office. The idea would be for people without wealth to run, but good luck with that one. If not, they certainly will have many options to become relatively wealthy after they start to transfer funds from their legal campaign contribution war chests to their illegal offshore bank accounts. If by chance someone is elected who is not wealthy, a special fund for congressional welfare should be set up for those rare creatures. Casual thought number 5. Dormitory residence for all members of Congress, including a congressional cafeteria. People in Congress programmatically complain that they need high salaries to pay for multiple dwellings. Ha ha ha. To help them with this problem, since we've just lowered their salaries, we should build dormitories that all members of Congress will be required to reside in while in office. That way, they will have one home in their district or state, so they don't need more money to support 2 residences. Their housing when in D.C. will be taken care of for them. There are many ways the dormitories can be set up. If they want to live alone while in D.C., they get 2 rooms, one for sleeping and the other to be used as an office. If they want their families to live with them or visit them regularly, their dorms can be set up as one of those temporary long-term residences many hotel chains now offer for people on out-of-town assignments of a month or longer. They get 1 bedroom for they and their spouse, 1 bedroom for each child, 1 guest bedroom, and 1 office for working at home. Ha 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 ha. An added benefit of this new arrangement is that it puts them together in one place, so they can work out personal differences there, or political differences, and it helps to emphasize the fact that their job in Congress is temporary and not a career. No one may be admitted to the congressional residences except close family members and personal friends of long tenure. Most importantly, lobbyists, business partners, or any businessmen and lawyers are prohibited in the congressional dorms. You can see we're going to keep lawyers out of Congress so we don't have to worry about them breaking that rule in dorms that they that they live in. Allowing any person into the congressional dorms who is not qualified to be there will be considered lying under oath, for which we have special penalties. See number 13 down below for penalties of lying under oath. Casual thought number 6, dress code for Congress. All members of Congress will be required by law to wear the same outfit when on duty. They will be required to wear standard dark green military fatigues like Ho Chi Minh and Fidel Castro used to wear in public. This will allow Congress to express their innate solidarity with the men in our military who are overseas getting their asses shot off in the wars that Congress voted for. It will also help them keep their minds on legislating and not on shopping. The wardrobe will be provided by the government, so they don't have to spend money on fancy suits that make them look honest, since they aren't. Casual thought number 7, no on-camera interviews or public appearances. Members of Congress will be prohibited from showing their faces publicly in any broadcast, broadband, or print media. We don't need to know what they look like for them to make our laws. The one exception will be on the congressional website. One picture, no videos, of each congressperson is allowed, but they must be conforming to the new congressional dress code when pictured. Speeches, demonstrations, seminars, presentations, all may be recorded, but the recordings may not be made public until after they have left office permanently. Casual thought number 8, monitoring of all meetings and interactions for all members of Congress. Documentation of who each member of Congress is seeing and what they're doing when not on their prospective house's floor will be required heretofore. Every meeting or interaction any member of Congress has while in office with anyone, including family members when not in the congressional residences, will be logged and summarized. Exact dates and times will be recorded. Names, organizations, and purposes of visit will be included as well. The results will be logged, and the logs will be published in multiple venues, including the internet and especially on the congressional website. We need to make it very, very easy for citizens of this country to see what their representatives and senators are doing behind the scenes. Casual thought number 9. I call it the Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren rule. Congresspersons represent the districts or states they are from, not ones they have recently relocated to. The ideal is for congresspersons to know their states or districts' idiosyncrasies from years of personal experience. In order to represent them sincerely and honestly. So, you must have lived in your state or district for at least 10 years before you're qualified to run for Congress from that state or district. Believe it or not, there are people in the House of Representatives who do not reside in the districts that they represent in the House of Representatives. Bizarre, eh? Casual thought number 10. Congresspersons may not invest in any companies or play any stock market while in office. Upon election or before, they must sell or give away any and all shares in any and all stocks or investments. Upon ending their term of office, they are forbidden to buy back or be given any sold-off investments or assets for at least 10 years. None of the games of selling to a shell investor or family member, continuing to make extra money on the side and recoup after finishing service. No more scams such as those recently publicized in Peter Schweizer's latest book, Secret Empires, wherein various congresspersons, such as Senator Mitch McConnell, former President Mohammed Hussein Obama, sorry, I meant Barack Hussein Obama, Confederates and cronies, including the Clintons' creepy uncle Joe Biden, the plagiarist, John Kerry, have been making hundreds of millions of dollars selling influence to foreign governments such as China and concealing those profits by using extended family members and friends as strawman recipients and beneficiaries to conceal their illegality. If you're serving the country, you're serving the country, not yourself or your interests. You can do plenty of that after you're out of office. Casual thought number 11. Under oath confirmation several times a year and randomly. Like an addict in treatment who must submit to random urinalysis randomly and periodically every 6 months and/or randomly, congresspersons will be required to confirm under oath that they have no hidden assets or investments, shell corporations, offshore or Swiss bank accounts or holdings, and that they have broken no major American laws since their last under oath testimony. Should it be discovered at a later date, no statute of limitations for ex-congresspersons, that they have lied under oath, they will accrue the penalties described below in casual thought number 13. Casual thought number 12. No lawyer shall be allowed to run for or assume elected office in the United States Congress or any other elected office for that matter, especially not presidents. We want more presidents like Trump. We don't want these fucking ex-attorneys. One way of making Congress more honest, reliable, responsible, genuine, and Eigentlichkeit, the Heideggerian term for authenticity or an authentic approach to life, which they lack, which everybody in this country lacks at this point now, thanks to advertising and legal profession and screwed up public school educations and on, is to bar all lawyers, no pun intended, but I'll accept any suggested, from assuming a seat in either the House of the Senate or the House of the Representatives or the office of presidency for that matter. Therefore, no person has been admitted to any bar in any state who has a law degree or who has completed more than 1 year of law studies at any school shall be admitted to Congress. If you're someone like Fania Davis and you have studied law on your own and done it well enough to actually pass the bar exam for your state, we might make a exception for people like her, because that's pretty heroic, if you ask me. When I was in college, I lived down the block from her, and she told me her whole story. But that's another reductio ad absurdum project. Of course, lawyers will be required as advisors to the lawmakers in terms of structure or wording of bills, but their involvement will be confined to the advisory role, and they will not be allowed to become actual lawmakers themselves. This includes cabinet members. Cabinet members can be lawyers because the Attorney General should be a lawyer. And finally, casual thought number 13, the death penalty for any member of Congress for lying under oath. And we will extend it to other people in government, in bureaucracies, etc., etc. Any congressperson convicted of lying under oath or of certain corruption-related offenses, like those of Senator Robert Menendez, will be executed as traitors to the country. The executions will take place exactly 2 weeks after conviction is handed down. No appeals, no legal machination games. These people are much worse than murderers, regardless of wealth or position in society before committing their crimes. They're slimier than murderers, and they should be treated worse than murderers. They are attempting to murder the entire nation, to murder the structure of our government, to pervert or corrupt the nation. So their fate should be on par with their crimes. Thank you for listening.